my name is Connie Joy and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome, and if you're not new here, welcome back and thank you for coming back. Before we get into today's Liberated Femme video, if you have not subscribed to my channel, now is the perfect time. And if you have not seen the very first 3 Liberated Femme videos, you're gonna wanna check those out first in order. I've created a playlist for Liberated Femme videos and they're listed all in order. So make sure you watch those first before you watch this Liberated Femme video so you understand exactly where I am in my childhood with this particular story. It's another foster care experience with a whole nother family, and it's a little bit discouraging to me right now to talk about it just because it's another one. It's like I've already shared 3 with you that I can remember, and this is the 4th that I'm going to share with you guys. If you've watched all of my Liberated Femme videos, by now you can tell by this video that as a child I was failed by many adults. It was not handled. This goes to show you guys just how many incapable people are running around fostering children pretending to be decent, qualified parents. Just like really start to think, like if you're not aware of how messed up people actually are, it's not just the predator that's the problem. It's the enablers that are also the problem. It's the people that actually are aware about it, know about it, and do absolutely nothing about it. Those people are the problem. So it's not just the predator that you guys need to be worried about out there. It's everyone that protects the predator. For pretty much all of my childhood, my predators have been protected and I have not been protected, which makes absolutely no sense. It happens right in plain sight. It's really sick and disturbing and weird. But let's get into this Liberated Femme video. So the next foster family that I was with was a single mother. She was African American, and I know it was in an urban area. I remember her being heavy set, and she had her own children, 2 girls and a boy. She had her teenage daughter, and she had a little boy and a little girl who were both my age. I don't know if they were twins or if they were like just really close together in age. There were so many foster kids in the house. She was definitely in it for the money. Like she was literally she was doing it literally just for the money. See, I was a little bit older. In this foster home, I'm sure I was actually 6. I remember going to kindergarten. I remember being enrolled in kindergarten in this foster home. And I remember wearing a uniform. It was we wore black tights, black shoes, like the little navy blue dresses, and like white little blouses underneath it, little ruffle blouses. I remember that. And I remember I lost my first tooth in this foster home. It was one of my front teeth, and they tied a string to my tooth and tied it to a doorknob and ripped it out. And I remember I was so scared, and this, my foster mother's, basically my foster sister, who was the biological daughter of my foster mother at this foster home, she was the one who did it. And I want to say she was at least 15, I want to say at least 15 years old. And she was just she was a bully. I don't know how else to describe her. She was a bully, and she would really she would fuck with all the foster kids. She would taunt them. She was a big bully, and she was just really mean. My foster mother, she said to me one day, she told me that I was stupid because I couldn't read. And she said, "Why can't you read and write? My kids can read and write." And I didn't know. I did not know why I could not read or write. Why I couldn't read. I could write, but I didn't know why I couldn't read. And now when I think about it, the reason I couldn't read or didn't know how to read, or at that time I wasn't, showing signs or even interest in education, was because when most kids are learning how to read and write, I was in and out of different foster homes and being separated from my parents and from my sisters. So learning how to read was the last thing in my mind as a child, and honestly, it was the last thing that was prioritized either, because foster homes are not obligated to teach these kids. They're not obligated to teach us. Like, foster parents are not obligated to educate you. They're not. And if they don't want to, they don't and won't. The reason that I didn't know how to read was because I wasn't taught. And that wasn't my fault. The most sensible thing for my foster mother to have done would have been to actually have taught me, opposed to taught me and pick on me. This was a grown-ass woman picking on me because I didn't know how to read. I remember when she said that to me in front of all of the kids, all of the other foster kids, and it just made me feel so embarrassed. We ate lots of Vienna sausages in this foster home and ramen noodles. Like, we had ramen noodles and Vienna sausages like literally every single day. It was a regular meal. Like, so I don't know what she was doing with our checks, but she wasn't spending a cent of it on us. And whatever she fed you, that was what you got. I remember, I'm not sure which kid put us onto this, but one of the foster kids, you know, told us that we could eat lotion and that it was okay to eat lotion. So we were all eating lotion at one point. Like, we were eating lotion. It's just crazy. And it was the lotion with the pump. Like, we were pumping the lotion and eating it out of our hands, eating the lotion. Like, it was like being in an orphanage, actually. It was like truly like being in an orphanage. There was not an ounce of love in that place at all. It was just a bunch of other foster kids. I remember we used to always watch Dr. Seuss movies, like the old school Dr. Seuss animated movies. And I can't, like, it makes me cringe to this day. I can't watch it. Like it literally reminds me of being right back in that living room, laying on the floor, laying on the hardwood floor in front of that box TV that was sitting on the floor watching it. Like, I can still remember all the kids laying on the floor in the living room of that woman's house watching those movies. I can't stand it. Like, it gives me like creepy. I just can't. It's just, I've never been able to. I've never bought a Dr. Seuss book. For my kids, I don't let them watch Dr. Seuss at all. Like, the remakes, that's different, but not the originals, not the old school ones. They bother me too much. For the most part, in this foster home, I was pretty invisible too, unless it was my turn to get, like, you know, picked on. So that was really much it. I also remember that we did not have any toys to play with. We had nothing to play with, so we would actually play in the basement, and we would jump on the mattresses that were in the basement. I remember there was this pretty, like, salmon colored, shiny, sparkly, fluffy, cotton candy looking. It was just like, it was the insulation from the damn house. That's what it was. But I thought it was like, I didn't know what I thought it was. But I got into that in the basement, and the fiberglass in that, like, tore me up. It was all in my hair. It was all over my skin. It was everywhere. And I remember, like, going and telling her that I was like, I'm so itchy, it hurts. And I was crying, and I was like, you know, that's what I was touching. And I was telling her what was in the basement that I was touching, that I was playing with. And she wouldn't give me a bath. And I was like, it really hurt. The living conditions they weren't great. Now, I think that the reason why that was acceptable is because I don't know what the criteria is to foster a child, but I know that it is very, very minute. I don't even know if you need a bed, to be honest with you. And I think because they make it so easy, anybody really does it. And I mean, like, literally anybody really does it. They really do. One old faithful day, as always, one day came along, and I remember that my foster mom at the time, she had company over, and she made us all go upstairs. So we went upstairs, and we were in her daughter's room, her teenage daughter's room. And I remember they had bunk beds. I remember we were all in her room, and she took off all of her clothes, and she started having sex with one of the foster kids, one of the boys, and she made all of us watch. Like, I watched someone get raped, that's what it is. And I just waited for it to be over, and there was nothing I could do. I was a child. And it was another situation where what happens at home stays at home. You just knew not to mess with this lady. Like, she was very masculine, not soft at all, very rough, really, mean, and she just was not motherly. She was not mother material at all. As a child in her care, she was not mother material at all. The boy, he wasn't even developed. Like, he hadn't even gone through puberty yet, maybe 9. Like, the fact that her daughter was a sexual predator, God only knows what else was going on. I remember that one day, my foster mom came to me and she said that I was leaving. She didn't tell me where I was going, but she told me that I was leaving. And I remember I was so happy and so excited. And her daughter said to me, she was like, "I bet you're glad you're leaving." And I said, "Yup." Hell yeah, I was glad I was leaving. I was glad that somebody called for me, was coming to come and get me. I didn't know who it was, but I remember I was just happy that I was going away from that place. When I left, my caseworker came and got me. Whoever my caseworker was at the time came and got me. They picked me up in a little van and took my little, I had like a little pink book bag and had, my little bit of stuff that I had in there. The next thing I knew, I was getting out of the van and I saw my 2 sisters. And this is like the good part. This is the good part of this part of the story. My big sister, she was with a foster family and she told them that she had 2 other sisters that were out in foster care and that they needed a home and that she wanted us. My big sister is the reason that we ended up together, because once we got to this foster home, the foster mother there didn't want to separate us. And that was the very first and last selfless thing she ever did for me and my sisters. Very unfortunately, I wish that this was the last. I really wish that this was the last video about sexual abuse, exposure to it, seeing it, being a part of it. I really wish it was, but it's not. It's not. It's not. In hindsight, looking back now, I feel like the last foster home that I was in before I got to the foster home that adopted me, that was like the quiet before the storm. Well, that wraps up our Liberated Femme video for today. Thank you guys so much for watching this Liberated Femme video. I really, really hope that I have helped bring some insight, something to someone, anybody watching this. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to give this video a like, subscribe, share, comment, and leave a comment down below. Don't hesitate to share your experiences. So, yeah, thanks.